On September 20th, our community is coming together for one powerful purpose: the United in Fight Cancer Expo. Cancer impacts us all, and you are not alone. 1 in 8 women will face breast cancer, and 1 in 8 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer. This expo is about education, resources, and most importantly, hope. Join us for free health screenings, inspiring survivor stories, vendor resources, and opportunities to learn more about prevention and care. Together, we are one community, one cause, one fight. Don't miss the United in the Fight Cancer Expo on September 20th. Come stand with us in the fight against cancer.
Telling me to dance, taking a chance. Telling me to dance, taking a chance.
Hello. Welcome to Show That Tea Tuesdays. How are you guys doing? Hey, Valerie. So let me just say this before we get into everything. So I did that whole production backwards, completely backwards. I was sitting here clowning with Valerie, doing the whole countdown production. And I pressed the wrong button, but I was like, oh, it's too late now. You might as well just roll with the punches, roll with the punches. So I'm sorry that was a little backwards, but hey, it worked out. You just gotta go with the flow. But hey, welcome. Welcome. I'm so excited to have everyone here. And of course, I'm super geeked, as you can tell. But everything today is focused on United in the Fight. I am wearing, yes, let me, can you see my shirt? Boom!
Yeah.
Yes. United in the Fight Cancer Expo. It's the inaugural expo this coming Saturday, September 20th, in the great city of Oklahoma City. And so I am so happy that this is coming to fruition. Like, oh, Valerie already know I've been planning this for a while. A while. It's been a minute, and I'm just happy that everything is just flowing together. Saturday, I'm probably going to cry. So just get the tissue ready, and hopefully it don't be an ugly cry, because sometimes when you get to crying, you can't stop, and then it turns into the
Yeah.
yeah. I'm hoping it doesn't do that. But we have so much to talk about today. Um, just about in cancer in general. Mainly, like, what is considered cancer prevention? Now, I do want to say, but most people may not remember who is Valerie and who is she with. So I just kind of give you a little backstory, very short. But Valerie is with the only National Cancer Institute in the great state of Oklahoma, OU Stevenson Cancer Center. And yes, I added all of that in there, but all of that is true. So we might want to give kudos to that while we can. But she is with OU Stevenson Cancer Center, and she does a phenomenal job with community outreach in within, not just within Oklahoma City. You pretty much travel
Mhm.
anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Have you been to the Panhandle lately?
Not lately. No.
Oh, okay.
We cover
Okay.
every.
Well, you
Yeah.
cover everywhere. That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's who Valerie is. And so she has all the knowledge. And if she doesn't know it, she's definitely the person that'll go and find out, and she'll follow back up with you. So without further ado, Valerie, how you been doing this? Well, it's already the middle of September. How you been?
It's been good. We've actually done so much in the past couple of months, and V, with everything. We just concluded our Black Men's Wellness Day, which was awesome. That was our the first time they had it here in Oklahoma as well, but that was in Norman. Me and Vernelia were both on that planning committee, and so we did a great job putting that event together. and bringing some screening and education and really highlighting that diversity in Black men. And so we served all of Norman, all of the community, anyone, no matter who it was. So it was open and free to the public, and it was great. It was a great first event. And
Right.
so,
It really was.
yeah,
It really was. To see, and it was diverse. It wasn't just, we just want to say it wasn't just Black people out there. It was
yeah,
everybody coming out to get screens and just taking care of themselves. Because you never really know what's going on with your body until you take the time to get screened. And can we talk about screening just a little bit? You
yeah,
know, what, and I feel that fear takes over us sometimes. And when we allow fear, it's kind of like, well, I don't want to know. I used to be, and I'll be honest, I used to be that person. Like every time I go to the doctor, there's something wrong. Every time I go, they gonna find something. Well, wouldn't you want them to find something so that way you can get treated?
yeah. A lot of that, like, fear mostly comes from not knowing the process.
Mm,
It's like the unknown when you don't know, okay, well, all right, if I do have cancer, what are the steps? How am I going to pay for it? When you kind of have all these floating questions and things you don't know, it makes it all a lot more harder for you to go out and get screened and know for a fact. Like you say, wouldn't you always want to know? Which is always the first thought. People are like, wouldn't you want to know? But
right.
really think about it in the terms of like what age range are most people getting cancer. It's usually, above like 50. And so usually this is time of your life where you might be getting, your kids may be older. You may be thinking about the second part of your life. You may be like, all right, I finally am into myself. I know myself better. I have a little bit more money. Maybe gearing towards getting ready for retirement. And then you hear this news. A lot of people don't want that in their life at the moment. And so, one of the first things is just making sure you are up to date with the resources before you even know. You
Mm,
should know the processes before it ever becomes a thought in your mind. And so I know we push a lot for cancer education and screening and awareness for those who are screening age, but I always open it and welcome it to everyone. So that way, when you know earlier, you're able to take control of your health. You ask more questions. The more questions you know before you get screened, the easier and more likely you are to do it.
that is true. That is true. I think um, to be not, I mean, I'm a transparent person, so I'll be honest with everybody. You really don't know a lot about breast cancer. Well, I'm talking about when I was younger, um, until it's you become an adult, and then it's like, hey, you need to go and get your girls checked out. Oh, okay. Well, I thought I didn't have to do that. And back when, I'll say in the late 90s, the statistics were quite different then, and the medical research was quite different. So you only learn as you kind of go through life experiences, and then when family members are diagnosed, then it's like, oh, you need to go and get tested. So then you go and do your screenings. So I will say that in regards to breast cancer, that when my family members and sorors and friends started getting diagnosed, that's when I started learning more about the cancer and what all is happening. But it is a lot of information. But with fear, how do we that, and not just as we the people of human race. How do we overcome, like, hey, I need to go and see what's going on? Um, you got any suggestions for? And Valerie, I know you're pretty young compared to.
But it's always a thought that you have to think about. And, cancer can hit you and affect you at any given age.
Yeah, that's true.
Um, but when you think about, overcoming that fear or that first initial fear is one, just being honest with yourself and
Mhm.
knowing that, like, okay, I'm scared of this, but also knowing that there are people and knowing that who to talk to about what. The first person you should always talk to and say, even if it's like, hey, I'm a little hesitant about getting this, is your physician.
Yeah.
They're there to
No.
help you and guide you. They may ask you and say, all right, well, are you afraid because you don't know what it is? Are you afraid because are there certain questions that you have? And then they can really dive into what are the specifications of it. A lot of times, a lot of men you'll find that are scared to get their PSA testing done. A lot of them, one, are still thinking about rectal exams, and they might be afraid of that. But when they talk to a professional or they talk to a physician, they're saying, oh, well, I mean, we do have a digital rectal exam. That's still an exam that we do, but we check PSAs now. Oh, okay, that might knock down one level of fear. Oh,
Right.
okay, it's a lot easier than I thought. It's like, well, is it covered by insurance? Because I heard those things are a lot of money. Oh, yeah, it's covered by insurance. That knocks down another level of barriers. And so, talking to your physicians is first, leaning on your family and support. Like you said, like oftentimes you don't really realize that you should be getting screened until you see a sore, you see a family member, you see a friend that either went through it or is going through it. But leaning on your support system to really help you to say, hey, you're fine. No matter what the results are, no matter what's going on, we're going to be here for you. And
Oh,
so
sorry. I sorry about that. I was like, where'd I go? Sorry
okay,
about that.
no, so like leaning on each other is the best way to kind of really combat that fear. And then the third is taking your health into your own actions, getting that preventative care beforehand, starting those conversations early with your physician, that can really knock down those fears.
Now, the key thing she said was to talk to your physician. Now, what if we have some people that don't even have a doctor? And I've run into a few people where they I don't have a doctor or they don't have the insurance to go to the doctor. Um, it's kind of like, well, what do I do if I don't have that option at all either? That
Yeah,
that's a
that is.
loaded question.
It's a very real question because with the way insurance looks and the amount of money that it could take and the eligibility requirements and depending on if you have a job or not and if your job provides insurance, and insurance statuses can change throughout someone's life, and so
Right.
you can always find where you did have insurance at one point, you don't, but you still want to get the care, or maybe your copay is really high, your deductible is really high, and you're like, I already spent too much money.
Right.
Sometimes it could just mean where you might encounter someone like me and you who are cancer advocates, someone like me who's working at a cancer center, and you come to one of our free community events. I know health topics and health related events aren't always on the top list of for everyone for how to spend their Saturdays. But if you don't have insurance, take advantage of those free services and resources. Going online and typing in Google, most states or most areas will have a cancer center that tries to cover that whole area. For example, here in Oklahoma, it's the OU Health Stevenson Cancer Center. We cover the whole state of Oklahoma. So searching up, like saying which cancer centers around me, their website or their areas will have probably the most relevant information regarding what cancers are prevalent, what's your risk. Like in Oklahoma, we know that it's 1 in 3 women and one in 2 men, so that's half of men that can get cancer. And so sometimes, like you said, that might spark a little, ooh, maybe I should be thinking about it. And so you get your stats, you get your understanding, you know where a cancer center is and that covers your state, and you go to some free events like we're gonna have this Saturday and come learn.
There you go. And definitely come and learn. I love that. And thank you for sharing that because a lot of people are not familiar or don't know where to turn when they're looking for resources. Uncle Google is a great start because that was my first go-to when I was diagnosed. After I got off the phone with my mom, I went to Uncle Google and I typed in ovarian cancer. And I needed to get an
Mhm.
understanding. What is this? What happened? How did I get this? What resources are in Oklahoma that I can connect to? I need somebody to talk to like now. But you do have to do that. You do have to start getting more proactive about what is going on within your life and within your family. Um, with the resources shifting a little bit. I mean, we know we're all in the times of juggling, I'll put it like that, because you never know what's going to happen. Do you feel that resources are being cut in regards to cancer and support for cancer, or not support for cancer. I mean, like resources for cancer, and different type of outreach, community engagement resources.
I definitely think there's been a shift in how, I guess, they've thought of cancer in general.
Right.
In the past like 15, 20 years, cancer has really taken a huge priority in our country. And it might not be that same level of priority moving forward. But the thing is, you're always going to have institutions that are supporting this cause for a lifetime. It's their duty. It's what they have created their passion for, and so you're always going to want to find those reputable institutions, like let's say like American Cancer Society, the Lung Association. Those are organizations that are committed to fighting and understanding and researching cancer that are or may not be something that's federal, that is kind of guided by what is in or what is a priority for the United States. But cancer is always a priority for American Cancer Society, and so always think about leaning on those type of organizations. And again, those school and like those research institutions, kind of like Stevenson Cancer Center, we're a research institution. Those cancer centers, almost every cancer center is going to be a research institution, especially if they're NCI designated. And so NCI just means that it's the National Cancer Institute. And so you're designated by this center just to say that you are the leading in cancer research, cancer prevention, and anything like that. So if you look up NCI designated or NCI cancer centers, those are the ones that you're going to find that are still going to be publishing, still going to be putting up some information about it. Now, the NCI is a government institution that kind of gives you a little label that says that you're doing what you're supposed to do. But those institutions have proven above and beyond that they're in it for the long haul to make sure that people are aware of the cancer's research and stuff. And so those are always good places to start. And always know that cancer research and things are forever changing. And so the
Right,
more that
that it is.
we know, colorectal is the biggest example I like to always give. At first it was, they said that people over the age of 50, 55 were getting colorectal or cancer screenings, and they research developed and they moved it down to 45. And so always know that it's going to shift, and don't always think just because it did shift, something's wrong, but more so just think that more researchers come out and we're just sharing it with the public.
So take a step back with the NCI. Do we have an NCI in all 50 states?
No,
Oh,
it's a
okay.
distinction that cancer centers have to basically work towards. It could take years, sometimes
Oh,
decades. Cancer
okay.
centers are always trying and striving for it. To be considered an NCI designated cancer center, you have to have like a research arm. You have to have like cancer biology, therapeutics, cancer prevention, a COE team, kind of like what I do, which is community outreach and engagement team. We all get different marks, and we all get, and if you make it in all of your marks and all of your categories and your research, your institution, the type of treatments you can offer, the level of researchers you have, and physicians, specialty physicians,
Oh,
then
wow,
you
that's a
can
lot.
apply. Yeah, you can apply for it. That's why I always am boasting about how great it is that we have this distinction. And we were the number one cancer clinical trials accrual site in the United States for a while. I'm not sure if it's changed, but we were the number one. And
Oh, that's
so
good.
um, yeah, we're doing great. And so it's always something to revel in, and it's something that you should find comfort in. And if you hear it a lot, it's not as boasting, but it's to make sure that you guys know that we have this distinction and that we are the leading cancer center in the state. You'll find that other states are, or even in Oklahoma, you'll have other cancer centers or cancer institutes or
Right.
anything like that, but they're not all NCI. So we're the only one that is the leading one. So in other states, not every state has one. So we're lucky in Oklahoma to have one. States like Louisiana, I don't think Wyoming has one. And so you'll have one cancer center that might be in, like, let's say a different state, but they cover yours. That makes it
Oh,
really difficult though to
yeah, that
do
does.
all of the work. And so you can find places that have a whole state span of bigger than Texas, where they're spanning 4 or 5 states. You'll find that sometimes in the Northeast, where they have states a little bit more conjoined together, that one state will cover their whole state, but another might cover on the top end if they have a little bit more room, or if there's cancer centers up in the north. It's very unique on how they what we call catchment areas, or the areas in which you catch the population. And so we try just to spread it out as evenly so that all of the United States is covered by someone.
Okay. Nice. Thank you. See, I told you she was very knowledgeable. See, I told you, listen, listen. You just sit down and have a conversation with Valerie. You be like, oh, okay. And sometimes I'm like, now Valerie, hold on, go back. Let me rewind that again because I need to process all of that information. But thank you for sharing that. So it's important that, like she said, to go and make sure that you have that resource in your state. And that's one thing that I've noticed is that everyone doesn't have the access. Sometimes we think, oh, we have the internet. Everybody has the internet. You'll be surprised. Everybody does not
Mhm.
have the internet. Everybody does not have access to Wi-Fi, let alone service. I mean, it'll be good for just your mobile device or your cell phone just to work where you live. But you got to think about people that live in certain areas that are, we'll call them rural areas, or they may be called, I don't know, other areas that are not in Oklahoma, but they don't have the luxury that we have, where we have the 5 bars, what they call it now, 5G or whatever they call it.
Mhm.
And so you just sometimes, if we just take a moment to think about other individuals besides ourselves, um, I think that that will help you to expand whatever reach that you're hoping to expand, as far as being a cancer advocate, because that's something that I'm passionate about. I was always passionate. Well, I said was, like it's past tense. I am always passionate about advocacy. And so cancer has just been added into the cluster of things that I'm on a mission for. So thank you for taking that time to um, explain that. Explain. Now, is there such a thing called cancer prevention? I know there's, in the world of digital age, we have all these influencers and things that's on social media, and they show us this and they show us that. And I know everything doesn't work for everybody because we're all a different makeup of people, with different demographics and backgrounds and, everything. But what is it about cancer prevention? Does that really exist?
And it's funny that you bring this up, because I was just talking about this the other day, and how we kind of frame cancer prevention. And a lot of times people will say, well, I'm going to get it anyways. What's the point of me screening? And, or, does it matter? Like, when I know, I mean, you're going to know eventually, and you're not really
Wow.
preventing cancer if you're just screening for it. And so, what I like to always say is that what we're really preventing is cancer death. You know, now people will, you can't, it's a luck of the draw. You might not know when or what cancer you're going to get, but like we said, if it's half of men and 1/3 of women will get cancer in their lifetime, what we're really trying to do is make sure that cancer is not a death sentence for you, that you get
Amen.
screened early, so that way when you are screened early, your outcomes are better. It's less money, it's less tiresome on the body. It might also have better outcomes for you in the long run, symptom wise. Um, and so what we're trying to do is make sure that your quality of life and that life itself are preserved through prevention. And so oftentimes when we say cancer prevention and people are like, well, you can't prevent it. Like, how come I did all this stuff and I still got cancer? Well, we're preventing it from happening too late, or knowing too late. And so there is cancer prevention. Of course, there's things that you can do in your life, in your lifestyle, that can help modify and help lower your risk of cancer. And so those are things like making sure that you're physically active, making sure that if you have obesity, that you deal with it early, dealing with diabetes, anything with heart inactivity, any of those other kind of chronic diseases or chronic conditions will help to alleviate your risk of dying from cancer or developing it early or more severely. And so those are what we really, when we say like prevention, those are the aspects we really try to change for people, the ones that we can modify, the ones that you can have control over, but you're not going to have control over what cancer or if you get cancer most of the time. The other big one that people talk is smoking, drinking, those type of things have been shown to increase your risk. But not everybody who drinks and smokes will get cancer. And not everyone who has that cancer, like lung cancer, smoked. And so when we say prevention, we're really meaning death. And what we really want is to try to get people to understand their risk levels and change what you can. And then what you can't change, you screen early so you can try to control it as early as possible.
I like that. And thank you for explaining that. Because, and when that person said, or group of people, whomever said that to you, did it kind of throw you off a little bit? Like, well, goodness gracious, why would you say it like that? Because that's where I was going.
Yeah, being in the community, my job is to really listen to what people say, and I'm always thankful when they do say things to me that are like extreme, or it's something very probably on the other spectrum of what I've either known or thought about. We're in this space consistently, so I'm always aware and know what to expect, what to think of, but not everybody is. So it's great to hear like things like, "Oh, I would never," or why, or this doesn't really exist. Like people argue with me up and down about sunscreen every day, but it strengthens my ideas and it breeds a little bit more for me to deeply understand where people are coming from, because these are the everyday people we're talking about.
Right.
The ones who get late are going to be the ones that you're walking on the street or passing by, who might have these thoughts, and they may not be in a space, one, for them to say it to me, two, for they may not even know that it's a thought until it occurs to them. And so when someone does come across from me and says it, I'm like, that's interesting, I'm going to write this down,
All
because it's
right.
something that I need to address with the public. So anytime that I'm out and about, it's something that I piece together, and sometimes you'll see the light bulbs click. But yeah, it is kind of like, oh man, I'm like, no, no, don't think that way. And then what information do I need to give you so that we can change that mindset?
Right. Definitely change that mindset. And I do know, and just speaking from my own experience, early prevention is the key. We use this acronym TEAL, take early action and live, and that's in the ovarian cancer world of TEAL. But it's if you just look at the survival rate for ovarian cancer, and let me see if I can. Well, I know I can't pull it up on the computer because I think it's on my phone, I believe. But that was a post that one of my Teal sisters shared, because it is Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month, and you know what? I think it may be on here. But anyway, it is Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month, and so a lot of us are sharing information about ovarian cancer and all cancers, because it is their month as well, and so we share, of course. But to get information out to the people, but it showed that I think it's under the Facebook one. Hold on a second. It shows that yeah, there it is. It shows that for breast cancer, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8.5, you know how to do the little frame. Eight and
Mhm.
a half women have a survival rate of surviving after 5 years. Now this is on my phone, so I know you guys can't necessarily see that, but I'll try to share that later. But and then it also compares it to prostate cancer. So prostate cancer, it has the same 8.5 of a
Mhm.
man. I talk about their survival rate, and then for ovarian cancer, we have four.
Yeah.
Oh, you see the little women, and then a half. And so I was just like, oh, it makes it makes it makes me sad, but then it also makes me motivated. You know,
Mhm.
if only 4 women are going to be able to survive statistically ovarian cancer after 5 years, that means I have a lot more work to do. Um, and so in this last year, I've lost two amazing Teal ladies to ovarian cancer. And so that was really rough. Just I don't even want to go through that because I get emotional all over again. But when I lose Till sisters that I've connected with, not even just Till, because I even had a soror that recently passed away, but when I lose people that I'm close with through cancer, and I've talked to them, and we've talked extensive about their treatments and what all they're going through, and when they pass, it's almost like Vernelia, you have to keep their story going. You know, you have to keep their story going. And so that survival rate is really, really important because when I was diagnosed, I asked that question, uh,
Mhm.
what's the survival rate? You know, you're talking to the treatment team, care team, and they said, well, it depends on your stage. And I'm
Mhm.
like, okay, well, what is it? What is my stage? Well, we won't know until you do XYZ. Well, when you gonna do XYZ? So it's like it's one thing after another, but it makes your uh, I don't even know the word. Like it makes you very worrisome about am I going to survive this?
The anxiety can be really high coming from there.
Yes,
And that time period, and that's why early prevention is really where we stand, because that survival rate really does depend. For ovarian cancer, like you said, stages 1 and 2, it could be at 90%, 95,
mhm,
but it drops drastically from 3 to 5. And so we like to tell people, like, yeah, you'll know eventually, and you may, in your head think, all right, well, I would rather know later, or I'll wait until after, my kids graduate. Then I'll start getting my mammograms. I'll wait until my daughter goes to grad program. Then I'll go get my pap smear. But you got to think about the earlier that you can intervene, and you can sit there and you can say, all right, this is where it's at, the better.
better.
No blame to anyone, because you can go really early. You can go right when you see symptoms and your staging be very high. We can have those stages, but you want to at least put as much effort on your end and say, hey, I did this consistently. I tried, and I gave it my all, and this is what my results were. But early intervention makes all the difference for cancers that grow kind of more slowly, and the ones that we screen for consistently, which are the ones that have the higher rates of fatalities, and that we can actually identify, that have patterns that we can see. Um, Getting those screenings early is really the best way for you to know ahead of time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, September is prostate
Cancer
awareness
awareness
month.
month. Yeah.
What's the statistics for, well, Oklahoma for prostate cancer?
Interesting you say that. I think in Oklahoma, which we were trying to figure out some actual statistics for how many men are actually getting screened, and it's still being updated right now. But Oklahoma does have higher than average rates. I think it's more than 2.5 times more likely to die from prostate cancer, and 2 times more likely to get prostate cancer. And that's specific to Black men. And I always want to bring that up just because they have higher levels than anyone else. Regular men, it's about 1.5. And so theirs can be a lot more drastic here. But in Oklahoma, in all cancers, were bottom 5. And so, top 5 worst for almost all cancers. And prostate cancer is one that affects men just drastically. And again, that comes with the early screening. A lot of times with prostate cancer, one that is more unique is a consistent. You need to be tested consistently over time. With prostate cancer, you're looking for a pattern. more
Okay.
so than like a symptom itself. And so they couple it together.
So when you say consistently over time, is it every
Mhm.
year like the mammograms, or is it?
Well, that depends on your numbers, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, generally, like they won't do it every single year for prostate cancer. But let's say if you screened one time, your first time, it was at 0.03, and the next time it's at 0.08. That's a big jump in between. They may want to
Right.
start testing you a little bit in between to see if there's incremental issues. The problem comes is when people wait 10 years in between. You
Oh,
get screened at 45, you wait 5, 10 years, and you get screened again, and now your levels have rose. Well, naturally, with age, your prostate will start producing some more antigens around that we can detect. So we're like, is that increased with age, or is it because you're having a prostate issue? So then we have to do further testing after that. But you want to make sure that when you're at 45, if you start, it's at 0.03. Next year, it's at 0.04. You take another 2, 3 years, they say, all right, you're fine. Come back another 3 years. Again, it's at 0.05. All right, that's incrementally, it's changing over the past 8 years. But if it's year after year, you're seeing it's changing drastically, we're going to go ahead and get you checked. So prostate cancer can be a tricky one for men to want to get done just because it's regularly. You have to get to establish some sort of pattern, and what's normal for you might not be normal for someone else. Some people have high elevated levels, and so if they're coming from a 1.5 while someone else who had prostate cancer was at a 1, but you start at 1.5, but 1.5 for you is normal, you have no other issues with that. But the person who got prostate cancer was diagnosed was at a 1, but they started at a 0.3, like they went up 7. And so
oh, okay. So
that's
yeah.
why it's something that you have to see incrementally over time. But yeah, Oklahoma does have more statistically is worse in cancer incidence and death for prostate cancer. Now I'm trying to look specifically for men, and I'm that being updated. So is also the cancer screening recommendation for prostate cancer. And so we really recommend having a shared decision making. Online, you might see that they start screening at 55, but I always urge men, especially if you are of risk, which is anyone if you've had a family history of prostate cancer or breast cancer, or if you are Black or African American or Black descent, go ahead and start looking at 45.
Hmm. Okay. Start looking at it and start getting screened
Screen
early. So
for.
and thank you for saying that someone that had a lower number, they were diagnosed with prostate cancer, but your number may be a little higher, but you
Mhm.
are not diagnosed with and that would throw everyone off. Like, well, about this whole number, and that's why with different types of cancers, there's different things that you have to uh, be aware of. So thank you for sharing that, because that can definitely be a little bit confusing. So I want to take a moment to share this from our sponsors, because we're gonna on this next segment here we're gonna talk about the United in the Fight Cancer Expo that's coming up this Saturday. And so this is brought to you by Share the T, S&T Enterprises, Lynn Institute, OU Stevenson Cancer Center, in regards to. So we'll be back right after these messages.
On September 20th, our community is coming together for one powerful purpose: the United in Fight Cancer Expo. Cancer impacts us all, and you are not alone. 1 in 8 women will face breast cancer, and 1 in 8 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer. This expo is about education, resources, and most importantly, hope. Join us for free health screenings, inspiring survivor stories, vendor resources, and opportunities to learn more about prevention and care. Together, we are one community, one cause, one fight. Don't miss the United in the Fight Cancer Expo on September 20th. Come stand with us in the fight against cancer.
Yeah, So we're so excited about this coming Saturday at the Northeast Wellness Center. Let me pull that flyer up just in case you might have missed it. It's in Oklahoma City, 3748 Lincoln Boulevard, right next to Homeland. So if you drive too fast, you're going to miss it. You might want to slow down right there and turn into that parking lot. There will be signage out there so that way you'll be able to see it, but we will start promptly at 11 o'clock just for you to kind of see and get the feel of all of what's going on. And it will end at 3. So we'll be, we wrap it up close around 3 o'clock because I know the state fair is here. Woohoo! Everybody going to the state fair. And I know it's football season. Oh my gosh. You can't compete with them two. But your health matters, and so I hope that you would take that few minutes and just come by the expo just to kind of get a feel of what's going on, connect with people. We have some amazing people that are on the schedule. Miss Pam is doing a cooking demonstration from Land Institute, so learn how to cook things. Did you guys know that there was such thing as a chemo soup? Did y'all know that? Valerie, did you know that?
Now,
Valerie,
I've heard some things, but I'm ready to taste.
you heard some
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
Okay, now I don't know if that's what Miss Pam is making, but there is a recipe called chemo soup, and I actually made it before I started my treatments. And let me just tell you, sometimes when you don't really have the taste buds that you thought you were gonna have, you just need something that's just going to be savory to your soul. And so I encourage you to look that up on Google. There's different ways of making it. You can add whatever vegetables and things that you would love to have in there. But yes, so Miss Pam is going to do her cooking demonstration. We also have Miss Keela. She's doing her Pilates and doing strength trainings because when you're going through treatments, your bones hurt, everything hurt. Just put it like that. And sometimes you may even have neuropathy. And
Mhm.
so, how do you get back to your normal self? And so, just being able to do strengths and stretches and movements, you may not be able to do those burpees that you used to do. So, we
Yeah.
may have to change it up, you know. And doing exercises with in a chair. So there's all different types of levels that you can do this. And then we also have Valerie, of course. She's going to do her presentation. Now, Valerie, do you want to tell them what you're going to present?
I'm going to be talking about how really the other modifiable risk factors like physical activity and obesity affect cancer. And so, really get that down and understanding on how that impacts it. A lot of people have those questions. And so, we'll talk about that. And cancer prevention, of course.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And then last but not least, CD Gaddis is bringing the cancer survivorship story, the spoon theory. Now, I know people are like, "What in the world is a spoon theory?" Listen, when she goes through her presentation, you're gonna be like, "Oh." And so the point of it is for you to understand you may not be like you were before. If you were a track star before, you may not be that track star like you were before. So it is going to take some time for you to get back to how you were, to get back to the normal person that you were before. But cancer does change you, and so I'm so excited for us to have all these phenomenal speakers and engagements, and we have some giveaways. I do want to say thank you to our in-kind donations from Tenaciously Teal, A Table in the Wilderness. Um, Sorry, my mom keeps calling me. I'm like, Mama, now you know I'm on a podcast. Anyways, now I forgot my train of thought. See, that's what happens when you're on a production team. That's why they tell you to turn everything off so you won't be distracted. Who else we have donations from? Oh, African American Men Wellness Agency, um, um, GSK, and then Pfizer. So all these different organizations that have donated to give us things to give to the community. Also, Share Foundation and the Old Spaghetti Warehouse. So I appreciate all of them for believing in the cause and being united with us, because cancer doesn't discriminate. It affects all of us in different size, different colors, different everything. But when we come together and we're working for one common cause, it makes the journey not so lonely,
Mhm.
not so lonely. And that's where my goal is for this expo, is for people to understand that they're not by themselves.
Beautiful.
You're not alone. I thought when I was diagnosed, I thought I was the youngest person to be diagnosed with ovarian cancer. I was only what at the turn of, well, I was about to turn 41 or 40. So at that time I'm thinking, okay. But then when I look up and I read Tara's story with Tenaciously Till, she was diagnosed back when she was 20, and being an advocate for cancer with Okra, which is Ovarian Cancer Research Alliance. I met a young man named Michael, and his daughter was diagnosed when she was, I want to say, 4 or 5.
Wow.
So listen, I share all this is because you never know people's story. You never know where your journey is going to take you. And so you have to be encouraged to share your story with other people, regardless of the situation. Don't feel embarrassed. I've connected with people that are veterans, um, people that are by themselves, don't have family at all, and it's just we have to encourage each other while we're
Mhm.
going through this, because it's hard for everybody. It's hard for your family. It's hard for you. It's just hard. And so making sure that you understand that you're not alone, um, is the top priority, and to connect you with some definitely resources. So Valerie, what do you look forward to on Saturday?
Honestly, I'm looking forward to seeing an event that is catered to uniting all cancers. I know a lot of times they're really focused on one specific or specific population, but this one is open to everyone if you've been impacted. And so I'm really excited to see that one. And two, I'm not gonna lie, I'm really looking forward to that cooking demonstration. You said Pilates, which my eyes lit up. I said, "Ooh, Pilates is a hot girl thing. It's in now."
Oh
And
Lord.
so if I can do Pilates in my chair, yeah,
Yes.
I'm gonna do a little, yeah, get these abs going. Summer already got his body, but winter's loading. Okay, so
Right.
and
That
so
is true.
I'm pretty excited, and I just want to share my information, and so I think I'm gonna learn a lot from the survivors and the different people who are speaking, and as someone who's working in the field, I feel like I don't know everything, and so
Mhm.
as much as I come to these events to educate people, I go to get educated, and so I'm excited to just hear about that.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, last but not least, I know you see this beautiful shirt that I have
I
on.
do, I do.
And so I do want to give a shout out to my soror, soror Jamaica Brown with Royal Design. She designed the image and everything for me, because I said I can't do it. This is what this is what I have in mind, and I want you to create it. And so she did. So thank you, Soror. And so we have made this the official logo for the Cancer Expo. The color is lavender. Now, a lot of people are like, why is it lavender? Well, lavender is the color for survivorship. And so that's why we're focusing on that. And of course, it has all the color. Oh, I'm on this wrong side. It has all the colors of the cancer awareness. And so you do have the opportunity, and we're not just doing this one time, because once I make a design, it's there. So you do
Mhm.
have an opportunity to purchase a United in the Fight shirt. It comes in 4 different colors, whatever color is your favorite. So we got lavender, we have tan, which is like a sand color, we have gray, and then of course we got black. And so all the proceeds, any shirt color that you purchase, will go towards the event of the expo. Because let me tell you something, it's expensive.
Yeah. 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 Oh my
It's
God.
expensive. But you know what? I am a woman of faith, and I've told people this story that are really close to me. I said, long time ago I had this dream that I was at some event and I was talking to people, and it wasn't my sorority event because I've been, officers and positions in that for conference. It wasn't that, but it was this. And 6 years later, that dream is coming true. And so that's why I say that it's going to be emotional for me Saturday, because when you dream about something, I didn't know at that time Share the Tea wasn't even created. It wasn't even created. I was just having visions of things and I wasn't for sure where this was going. But I said, Lord, you are God in my step. And so everything that you need for me to have, you're going to direct it in my path. And that's what he has done. And so I'm so excited for Saturday. Come on out. Don't worry about the fair. You will get there. Not to mention, I will have two children tickets to give away to the fair. So, just come on out and then have a good time with us on Saturday from 11 to 3 at the Northeast Wellness Center in Oklahoma City, 3748 Lincoln Boulevard. And thank you to all of my sponsors, also the community health centers, for inviting me and inviting the vision, and Lynn Institute, and definitely OU Stevenson Cancer Center for always supporting this vision. So I'm excited. I guess
Yeah. I see it now.
from here to Saturday, I need to get some rest, huh? Is that what that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. You're gonna be
yeah,
jumping around.
right.
I love the shirt.
Definitely. Thank you. Thank you. So I don't have anything. Valerie, do you have anything else? I know we've covered quite a bit.
No, but I hope that everyone who's watching to see you on Saturday. Don't be a stranger. And grab my business card, and if you want to get involved in anything, just know that OU Stevenson Cancer Center is always willing participant to get involved in anything cancer related and health related. And so just know I work for you. I work for the community, and so use me.
Awesome. All right. So don't forget to follow Share the Tea on all social media, and on podcast stations at Share the Tea with V. I'm on all channels except for Snap of the Chat. And go to my website. And remember, we share the tea. We don't spill it. All right. I'll see you Saturday. Bye.
Bye.
Telling me to dance, taking a chance.